Alright, and am I on? Let me just check real quick and make sure that I'm on. Let me just make sure. Alright.
Am I on?
Yep, there we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Fish Taco stream where I talk my lungs out for the next 2 hours. This is going to be a 13.0 tier list because it's been a while since I did a tier list. I feel like the last one I did was it was back in the summertime, and that was when we only had like one major to go off of. Now we've had a bunch of offline majors. The final balance patch is out. So I decided to make a tier list again because I'm also at home and wanted to do something to spice things up a little. So as usual, it's going to be ordered. However, you may notice that the setup is a little bit different. While I won't agree with Esam saying that there's like 30 top tiers and stuff like that, I will agree it's kind of hard to make a tier list that's just top tier, high tier, mid tier, and low tier. So I created this tier list. You may have seen Charles use it in a Tweak Talks episode. And basically we have the best characters in the game, which is only going to be a couple. Characters who are solo viable, they win enough matchups that they could be used without a secondary, though you still could use one. May want a secondary. You can go solo with these characters and still do well with bracket luck, but you may want a secondary for some matchups. Needs a secondary, but still viable. This tier is my compromise for putting a character in bottom 5 and then seeing them win, seeing them almost get top 8. And then, of course, the unviable tier is obviously the unviable characters. Now, I do want to say one thing. It is incredibly hard to order a tier list like this, especially after all the crazy stuff we've been seeing. We've been seeing Incineroars and Jigglypuffs getting almost top 8. What? So I'm going to do my best to order it, but for like these bottom 2 tiers, it really doesn't matter. I'm only really ordering them so I have some structure to go off of, but you really want to start caring about order, and then may want a secondary tier. So with all that talking out of the way, let's begin. Worst character in the game, still Ganondorf. I don't feel like I have too much to say about this. I mean, it's Ganondorf. They made a rushdown character that is incredibly slow, has no way to deal with projectiles. Yeah, their best main move, like Nair, doesn't even function half the time, so there's that. You also have just some horrendous air mobility because Ganondorf, like, there's not much to say. His recovery's horrendous. He gets juggled forever. He gets hit once and he dies. He loses every matchup in the game. Maybe, like, one matchup he can do well in, but nah. Second worst character is still Dr. Mario. Again, with Ganondorf, there's not too much to say since nothing has really changed since my last opinions on him. But what I will say is that at least he has a projectile, so he's better than Ganondorf. He has a reflector, so he has some way to deal with projectiles. But of course, still slow, still a bad recovery, struggles to land sometimes. And of course, you know what happens when Mario struggles to get in. Sometimes he struggles to get in because of sword hitboxes. Dr. Mario has that, but he's slower, and he has less reward per hit. Sure, he does more damage per hit, but Mario combos hard, so Mario gets more damage. Yeah, there isn't really too much to say about these first 2 characters. And the next character is going to be, where is he? Piranha Plant. Plant still sucks. And honestly, some characters have gone bumped up, so Plant just fell even harder. There's almost no reason to use Plant. His ledge trapping, pretty good, although it's apparently not even a top 5 ledge trap. It's still good, but not great. And of course, you can't just ledge trap. You have to have a fluent game plan. And Plant has one of the most inconsistent game plans. It doesn't flow into each other. You have these wacky normals. He does a lot of damage with Poison Cloud and stuff like that, but it just isn't enough in my opinion. It's still an incoherent mess of moves. I will argue that it is hard to order this character above these 2. Like, there's a bit of a gap, but he's still unviable. He still loses almost every matchup in the game. So, yeah. Now, a character that I placed decently high on my last tier list that I completely flipped my opinion on is going to be the Ice Climbers. Ice Climbers are actually... It's so weird to think about Ice Climbers because, yes, they have all these crazy decent combos and can kill you at 0. But also, they are so inconsistent. You have to work with this wacky AI, and if you lose that character, Nana, you just lose the entire game because the player can camp you, because the opponent can just camp you out for days. Like, they don't even have to approach you. And if you focus on killing Nana, they die. They also have a horrendous matchup spread because they lose to so many zoners in this game. It's bad. It's really bad. And, like, base stat Popo without Nana is one of the worst characters. Is, like, probably around Ganondorf level because they have a bad projectile. I will argue that side B is a pretty good move, but it isn't enough to carry this mess. Like, what makes Rosalina such a good puppet character is because she's meant to be a puppet character, where Ice Climbers are meant to be a 2-1, and what made them viable was all their glitches that they've had. And because those glitches are so hard to pull off in a tournament setting with all these bad matchups, it's rough. Like, I almost put this character in tier above, but, like, they're the highest character in this tier. I don't think there's that many characters in this tier, so yeah. AK Studios, thank you for being my 69th subscriber. Also, Link is the best character. Facts. Absolute facts. If I wasn't doing this in order, I'd talk about Link now, but yeah. Alright, so now we're on to the needs of secondary, but still viable. These characters are still pretty bad, most of them, but then they just have all these, they have enough tools that if you want to use them for even the -1 matchups, you can. They have a decent amount of tools to make it by, and we've seen a bunch of characters in this tier do decent damage. And the first character that fits that category is going to be, well, not a character that's done any damage because no one talks about this character anymore. Mii Swordfighter. So Mii Swordfighter is still pretty bad. Still pretty slow. Still can kind of lose a lot of matchups. But also, they have more consistent combos to kill at 60. They're very one-dimensional, but they can kill very early. Also, they've gotten some buffs in the past, so now you can play them like a sword character. So they actually have some tools, but the problem is it still isn't enough. There's still a bunch of better sword characters. There's that aren't slow, and if they are slow, they have the tools to make up for it. But Mii Swordfighter has enough. He's so bad, but also usable. You can definitely still do damage with this character. Just not, I don't think you'll ever win with this character solo, but we've seen characters in this tier almost get top 8, so what do you want me to say? Another character who I think is down here is another character who I place kind of high, Robin. Robin sucks. Robin has no ground moves, defenses that fly away. Like, their aerials when they have Levin Sword are really, really, really good. But the problem is you don't have that resource, and characters can rush in before you even get it and kill you. You can also just get out-camped because eventually you're just going to run out of resources and then they can just get attacked. And when they have to use aerials without Levin Sword, they are absolutely terrible moves. But Robin still has some tools. Arcfire ledge traps, Arcfire combos in general. Still a better recovery than all of these characters down here, which is good, but and has a decent zoning game that gives some characters trouble, but still pretty bad. But also usable, because Ultimate is stupid. Like, it's crazy that the bottom 6, like, these two characters are bottom 10, almost bottom, one of them's bottom 5, and yet they can still be used in a tournament. Next up, who did I put next? The next character, and, like, here's the fun thing, I kept changing my tier list around right before the stream, so there's gonna be things that change. Isabelle. Actually, Isabelle's right here. Bet worse than Robin, which is a bold statement because Robin sucks. Isabelle has tools. Like, it's so weird with Isabelle because she's so weak in so many aspects. She just has two stupid things that make her viable. You have, well, maybe 3. The first, slingshot. When you get a slingshot string and just keep hitting off the stage, you could kill someone very early. That's pretty stupid, in my opinion. You have pocket. Characters who have to rely on a move to pocket. You can pocket it and get a strong projectile and throw it back at them, or keep them from using an item. That's very good. And their ledge trapping is also pretty good. So Isabelle has tools, but the problem is she doesn't really kill you. Her damage output is extremely low. Like, most of the time you aren't going to get hit by slingshot combos or anything. Like, she has some stuff, but it just isn't enough. Like, that's the best way to describe it, Isabel. Just very mediocre, very weak, and never enough. Which is kind of sad to say about this cute little dog, but what can you do? The character isn't great. Next character. This is so hard. Like, the bottom characters are so hard to order. I'm gonna place Banjo and Kazooie. Where are they? They're up here. Banjo and Kazooie. I can't believe I'm placing them this low. Because it seems like they have so much. They have all these crazy combos and stuff. But they're just very... Banjo is a very lackluster character. It's just not good enough, in my opinion. Like, obviously they have zoning. But if you just out-camp them, play slowly against them. Like, the zoning's decent, but not good enough. Don't rush in against a Banjo. You just kind of have to slowly make your way in or out-camp them. And, of course, against like, other zoners, they can just get out-camped, especially characters with reflectors. Like, they have so many bad matchups, and their normals, like, aren't even that great either. Some of them are pretty good, but not that good, in my opinion. Who's next? I think the next character is going to be Incineroar. Incineroar has the sauce. Yes, I used to think this character was the second worst in the game a long time ago. Are they still bottom 10? Maybe. Probably. Actually, I think there's another character, but we'll talk about them in a second. Incineroar has tools. Like, here's the thing. His recovery is actually good. Well, not good, but it's actually passable. Way better than Ganondorf. He has crazy combos, a command grab, a way to deal with projectiles, but the slowest character in the game. And a super heavyweight. Have you noticed that slow heavyweights just don't do well in this game? That's literally what holds him back. But then again, we saw one almost top 8 a major. And we constantly see them constantly doing good at majors. So Incineroar's good tools against, as long as the matchup isn't completely unwinnable, you could do good. Like, Incineroar has tools, but very slow. But also has revenge and has the ability to kill you stupid early. Has a good command grab. Decent recovery for low tier standards. Like, a very decent character. By the way, I don't want to say solo viable is high tier or top tier or stuff. You can put whatever basic definition on the tiers if you want. I just don't feel like doing that definition anymore. Another character down here, I think next up is going to be... I know I made a tier list before, but I'm constantly changing my opinions on this. I think it's time we talk about Zelda. Zelda has some stuff, like the good zoning and stuff, but it just isn't enough. Like, Zelda's such a floaty character that if you hit her once in the air, she just doesn't land. Also, she has a hard time getting off the ledge. Like, her game plan is so reliant on Phantom and upping as shield that, like, yeah, it's strong, but once you learn the matchup, you do fine. Just out-camp her. She doesn't really have the best tools either. Like, she has some great tools, like Lightning Kick, pretty good. Up air, pretty good. But nothing too crazy. Like, her big problem is it's just not enough. And once you get in on her, her disadvantage kind of blows. At least in my opinion. Alright. I think this is about the point where... actually... Oh, wait. What was that one character I was going to talk about? Where is he? King Dedede. King Dedede is... right here. So King Dedede has some stuff, like the Gordo ledge traps and everything. But just not enough. And also, you can hit Gordo back, and that sucks, because Gordo, that will just mess up their entire game plan if they constantly get their tool hit back. If you have a Reflector, you do well against it. Good ledge trapping, but as we mentioned, slow heavies are not good. But I feel like the normals for King Dedede aren't as good as Incineroar's, and even his game plan isn't as good as Banjo's or Zelda's, so that's why he places a little bit lower. And of course, he's such a big body. He takes so much damage and dies almost instantly to everything. It's pretty bad, in my opinion. Alright, is I feel like the next character is going to be Little Mac? Alright, listen. I know people are probably saying, Dylan, you don't think Little Mac is even bottom 10? You're right. I don't. I think Little Mac is an underrated character. Little Mac has tools. He is fast. Extremely fast and powerful. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be saying, hey, Dylan, can't you just platform camping and stuff? Here's the thing. You need to get hits on this character. And his forward smash apparently is safe on shield. It's pretty good on shield. Also, he just does so much damage. You have KO punch that goes right through shields. What? His Nair also isn't that bad. It's actually usable and can be a good combo breaker or a good move to get you out of sticky situations in the air. He still sucks in the air. Still has a bad recovery. But being fast with that amount of power behind his moves, that helps a lot. And of course, countering can actually help you with your recovery. Little Mac has stuff. And he also has good airspeed, so he can actually fast fall down, which is something that some of these characters don't have, is not being able to get down. Little Mac has tools. And I'm tired of everybody saying, oh, he's unviable. Like, obviously, it doesn't matter too much because all these characters still aren't the best, but I don't think Little Mac is unviable. I think this character has tools. And I know a lot of people are going to be saying, but Dylan, you're a mid-level player. How can you be saying this because you're at mid-level? You have to focus on top level. Yeah. And I think it's a matter of time because we've seen Incineroar do very well. If Incineroar, a slow character, can get in and almost top 8, then certainly a Little Mac can. And I stand by that opinion. Little Mac has sauce, and it's time we stop pretending that this character is bad. Obviously, still isn't the greatest character, but he has a lot more than people think. I think Little Mac is incredibly underrated. Because I constantly see him being placed at, like, the worst character in the game. He's not. He has stuff. And it's only a matter of time until we see that stuff. Next character I'm hovering over them is going to be Mii Gunner. So Mii Gunner actually has some pretty good zoning tools. And you could put a reflector on him to make him a pretty good zoner and out-camp characters. But the problem is that, like, they're slow. Also, they don't do well under pressure at all. Now, I know you can do customizable things. Like, I didn't mention it much with Mii Swordfire because there's one, like, fluid game plan with them. But with Mii Gunner, you can give them an add shield option. But then you sacrifice having a recovery. And we see how much that has affected Chrom, because Chrom would probably be a top 5 character if he actually had a usable recovery. But he doesn't. So he drops dramatically down the tier list. Mii Gunner, while having an outshield option helps, sacrificing a recovery means that if you whiff it, SpaghettiOs, you're gonna die. Because Mii Gunner does not have tools in close quarters combat. Like, obviously, Nair is good, but that isn't enough. When you're in this character's face, you hit them once, they die. They're incredibly slow, but also they have some pretty good zoning, pretty good ledge trapping. Like, Mii Gunner has stuff, it's just not enough in my opinion. Alright, who's next? Actually, a character worse than Mii Gunner in my opinion is going to be the big funny monkey, Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong has an incredible grab game, an incredible back air, so much damage when he hits you, actually pretty fast, but one of the worst disadvantages in the game, a vertical recovery that doesn't go far. It's bad. Like, if you hit Donkey Kong once, like, kind of like King Dedede, to a very extreme degree, if you hit him once, he just dies. And that is not good. Because, obviously, yeah, back air, he has these giant normals, but when you get in on him, you just hit him once and he goes dummy. Like, you just hit him once and you kill him. But also, still a good grab game. Still, and I believe he got some buffs in the patch. And now he can kill you at different percents now. Well, like, different ways now, I mean. Who's next? I'm kind of going off of my... I'm kind of not no longer going off of my tier list. I feel like the next character... a little bit lower than Mii Gunner still. Maybe lower than Donkey Kong. Yeah, Kirby has enough. Kirby has tools. Kirby actually has a pretty good set of ground normals. A pretty good ground speed. Like, Kirby actually has some stuff. But the problem is it's just not enough. He has a slow airspeed. And while he gets a decent amount of reward when you get in on him, it's not enough reward. When he gets in on you, it's not enough reward. Like, obviously he has all these combos, some decent killing and stuff, but it just isn't enough. And because he's so small with such slow airspeed in a game all about jumping, and a character that is so focused on jumping, he just gets walled out by projectiles and swords, and just doesn't have enough reward to make it through. So yeah. I keep like saying, oh, this character is better than... Mii Gunner seems to be the character where everyone's trying to compete with. King K. Rool, it's actually funny that they're right next to each other. Have you noticed that heavy characters aren't great in this game? King K. Rool is better than Kirby because he has some pretty good tools. He has super armor on a lot of his moves. He has the blunderbuss ledge trapping, but you can use Crown against him. Still doesn't do well when you hit him, but also has a spike. 2 spikes, actually. Has a counter. But, like, King K. Rool is kind of a weird character, because he has all these super armor, but it's still, if you know the matchup, you're going to destroy the character. And unfortunately, people know the matchup now. I mean, it's a bunch of years into the game. But we've seen King K. Rool's almost top 8 majors. I'm pretty sure they got to... Kirby Kid got top 16. Like, he's going dummy with K. Rool, though Australia isn't the strongest region. I could be wrong about that. Australia could be big, but, like, seeing King K. Rool go dummy like that, that's pretty good. Next up is going to be... Where is he? Ridley. I think Ridley is better than Mii Gunner. So Ridley has a good nair, good edge guarding. Fireballs help in scenarios of keeping characters on the ledge or hitting them further away. Has a good command grab. Has a down smash that does whatever the heck it wants. Is incredibly fast. Has a good down throw. Some bread and butter combos like down throw into forward air at very early percents. Decent forward air in general. You can forward air string off stage a little. But having heavyweight factors such as being a big body and then also being light, not good. And if you're in Ridley's face, all he has really is nair to defend himself. Like, he still has stuff, but it just isn't enough. Also, his down air kind of sucks. His recovery, while decent, isn't great because you have to, like, it goes in, like, only 4 directions. So if you're at an awkward angle, you have to aim it up. And once you aim it up and drift back to stage, a character can hit you off far away and you die. But also, I think he has multiple jumps. He has wings, so probably. So yeah, Ridley's pretty good, but also not great. Like, he's still in this tier. You clearly still need secondaries for all these characters. But you could probably top 8 with them. Definitely top 16 with them. Because Ultimate is crazy. Next up. Who's up next? There's a lot of good characters in this game. Meta Knight. Meta Knight's definitely up next. So Meta Knight's interesting. If you win a match, he's a very strange counterpick character. One of the strangest characters in this game. If you win the matchup, if Meta Knight wins the matchup, yeah, he beats characters like Peach, probably, and Game & Watch. But also, if he doesn't win the matchup, my god, it's terrible because he gets zoned out. Like, you have to really out-camp this character, but if he gets a hit on you against certain characters, he just wins the matchup. And we've also seen, like, the patch do some decent stuff with his back air, I believe. Like, he has some pretty good edge guarding. The combos are still pretty good. And he can get you off stage very early. But the problem is that his neutral isn't good. Like, his advantage state, good when it works. Because I believe sometimes characters still can pop out of his ladder combos or get down from him. His disadvantage, he has 5 jumps. He has cape to get down. But it's just his neutral is so bad. And that's what swings so many matchups for him. But yeah, still a good character. Well, not a good character. A very alright character. Next up is going to be... I feel like This is going to be a bit of a hot take. But I don't want to... Yeah, I want to do it. I don't think Lucas is that good. Now, I could be biased because I have a bunch of Lucases in one of my regions. I'm in my college region. And I play a sword character who can zone Lucas out. And I'm constantly fighting Lucases. But man, it just doesn't seem to be enough. Like, obviously, he has all these flashy combos. He has the Zair stuff. Just outcamp him. Like, PK Fire, yeah, when it hits you, it can knock you far away from the stage. PK Freeze can still be stupid. He has down smash at the ledge, down smash in general. But also his up smash, I've actually discovered sometimes doesn't work. Also, he could just get outcamped. Doesn't have the greatest hitboxes. Like, Lucas is at one of those characters where he has a lot of stuff. It just isn't enough. Like, when he gets a hit, boom, he can do a bunch of combos on you with Zair, and I believe Nair, though some of those combos may not be true. And he also has, what's it called? I don't remember. But also, hit him up. Like, don't even hit him up with an optimal combo. Just hit him up in the air, and his air mobility isn't good. And because it's less risky to edgeguard him, that hurts. So, yeah. And he also has the Nest problem where his hitboxes aren't that great. But he's also slower in the air, so when he jumps up to try to hit you with an aerial, it's very slow. It takes a long process. Oh yeah, I forgot. He has kill throws. They gave him 3 kill throws. One for the back, one up above, and one in the front. Because, you know, he just needs it. We needed that. Another character who fits into that just not good enough category is going to be Toon Link. One of my old mains of many, because I had a massive maining crisis. Toon Link has some stuff. Very bread and butter, bomb the forwarder and stuff like that. He has all these decent tools. Very decent. But the problem is it's just not enough. He's very floaty. Like, the thing is that Link and Young Link, what makes them so strong is that one of the things that makes them so strong is the fact that when you get in on them, they have a move like Nair. Like a throw it out, Nair, get you away. And Toon Link's Nair is still decent, but it isn't great. His disadvantage is still predictable, and he's very floaty, so while his recovery can go farther than them when they're just up-being, he also kind of doesn't land, and when he jumps up to do an aerial, it can take a very long time. His aerials are quick, but they don't have a lot of range. However, still decent zoning, bomb forward air, boomerang forward air maybe. He has tools, just not enough. Next character is going to be... We're almost out of this tier. Next character is going to be... Duck Hunt. Where is he? Duck Hunt! Duck Hunt's a very interesting character. Because I got sauced hard by one in a tournament. But then again, I didn't know what I was doing. But also the player was just a godlike. Duck Hunt has all these clever setups. But if he isn't killing you off of a setup, he explodes and doesn't kill you. And if you hit him, edge guarding, doesn't have the best normals so you can juggle him. Like, Duck Hunt's zoning, really good. Stronger than zoners above him. But the problem is, so many zoners in this game, when characters get in on them, they could scrap. They can make sure, hey, you're in? Okay, I have some normals that I can throw out at you and make sure that you don't hit me. And unfortunately, Duck Hunt doesn't have that. He has good zoning, like all these crazy confirms, but not being able to kill, edge guarded, not great normals, it hurts. Obviously, he can kill if he gets a setup, but if he isn't getting a setup, he isn't going to kill you. Another character who is going to be in this area is going to be Villager? Where is Villager? So Villager may not have the ledge trapping of Isabelle, but he has Bowling Ball, so that could cheese some recoveries that have to go low. He also has better zoning with Lloyd Rocket, and his Slingshot, while it may not be able to kill you, can still keep you out. Lloyd Rocket, Tree can do a lot, and that can lead to Axe, although some characters can throw out a move through the tree when it's getting cut down. Lake Nair, Lake Nair. But, yeah. Villager has stuff, but it just is actually, it's very hard. Villager's damage output is kind of low. Actually, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, Duck Hunt's better than Villager, I believe. Like, all the characters in this tier, if you want to put Lucas, like, here, that makes sense. Like, if you want to throw character, like, in these tiers, if you want to throw characters around, like, 3 or 5 spots, completely understand why. But when we get to more tiers, it's going to be more solidly, or this is kind of a loose estimate, but, you know. Next up is going to be, Lucario. One of the swingiest characters in this entire game. When Lucario gets going, ooh, he gets going. But the problem is if you get a percent lead on him, you can kind of camp him out. But also, if you have a stock lead on him, he builds up aura. And when he gets aura, he kills you. But also, very light and dies early to stuff. A lot of characters can kill early in this game. And uh-oh, SpaghettiOs, if you get killed early, you don't get to fully access your true power. But there's also a lot of situations in this game where characters are scrambling at 120, and Lucario could really shine at that point. So yeah. And the final character in this tier is going to be... Where are they? The Belmonts. And I do not like how there's one little hanging character down there. Unless I missed a character. I could definitely miss a character. Let me just make sure. Oh, crap. I missed Jigglypuff. Yeah, there she is. Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff is right there. So, my mistake. So, Puff is another one of those characters that I thought was terrible. I placed on bottom 5 last tier list. But then, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Someone almost top 8'd a major with them. Base Mage has been making big moves with this character. And he's like top 32 seeded a couple of the majors, which is really good. With Jigglypuff. And Jigglypuff loses a lot of matches, gets zoned out. But hey, if the matchup isn't unwinnable, there is a chance that she can hit you off stage and edgeguard you, get a rest combo on you, and stuff like that. But also, not the best moves, still extremely light. Yeah. But also, air camping and stuff like that. And as for the Belmonts, very good zoning, pretty good zoning, but like so many other characters down here, just can't scrap. Like, they have good ledge trapping, but when they're off stage, they die instantly. But also, we've been seeing the T3 Dom doing some work with this character, so who knows? Like, all these characters are still pretty usable. I might throw a couple of them down in this tier, but definitely still usable characters. So now we're on to the Maywa secondary tier. These characters, you probably need a secondary because there's some unwinnables. Like Puff, for example, Shulk exists. Maybe there's Pikachu for the Belmonts. Maybe there's an anti-projectile character. You maybe have a combo-heavy character against characters like Donkey Kong and stuff like that. But as for the Maywa secondary tier, you could do well solo with these characters. Maybe with some bracket luck, you can actually almost win. But there still could be some matchups that you can run into, so you might want to keep it in your mind, but you can still pull it off. And a character who, the first character to kick off that tier, and I just also want to say that I've only covered like 20, 25-ish characters. Ultimate's stupid, and we're going to notice a character who's probably bottom 30 still placed in this tier. There's a significant jump between these two. So keep that in mind when I place Corrin as the first character in this tier. So Corrin is interesting. A very slow sword character, but has a really good back air. Dragon Fang shot into the bite. Like, the projectile itself, using it from a distance isn't good, but using it up close can actually land you a kill. A very solid up air, which can do a lot. A decent burst option. And an alright recovery. But the problem is that they're very awkward to play. And they don't have the ability to counter edgeguard you. Like, you know, when you just... where characters throwing out a hitbox to recover. Like a Young Link up B, for example. They can't jump down and hit it, so it'll just shoot them up. Which can help you with vertical killing, which is really good in this game. But not enough. Corrin's still pretty good. Forward air combos into almost anything you could possibly dream of. But the problem is it just isn't enough. Still a slow sword character, and still some matchups are pretty bad, but you could definitely do solo viable Corrin. It's just that the reason why so many people don't play him is because there's another slow sword character that kind of is Corrin too, that kind of just overtook them. And Cosmos was going to play Corrin, but then Pifra came out. But we still see Shattuck doing pretty good with this character. Like, Corrin's pretty good, just not enough in my opinion. Next character, Mewtwo. Mewtwo is pretty good. Some very fast, good nair, decent camping with Shadow Ball, has a reflector that can lead into stuff. Confusion, what's that thing? It's not confusion. It's that move that stuns you when you break the shield. That can lead into an early kill. Like, Mewtwo has stuff. The problem is that still Tail exists. Though you don't hit it all the time, it still can be something that happens. And still a tall light character, which hurts, especially for another character who's going to be in this tier, spoiler. But Mewtwo has stuff. He has crazy damage. Shadow Ball's pretty good. Can do strings up to 60%. The Confusion, the side B can be good for stalling in the air. And also throwing your opponents out of shield because it's a command grab and getting a follow-up after that. Mewtwo has stuff. Just not enough. The next character, and this is why I say that Ultimate is stupid and there's a bunch of good oh my god, I forgot a character. Uh-oh. Whoopsies. I forgot Bowser Jr. Bowser Jr. is definitely not. Probably. I'm just gonna make a complete guess and just throw him right here. Oops. I forgot Bowser Jr. Whoopsies. So, don't panic. Bowser Jr. is not that good. Bowser Jr. has good combos. Don't get me wrong. But still a game plan that isn't good enough, in my opinion. Like, it's a very exploitable game plan that if you know what you're doing, you kind of just take him out. But, did my music stop? Yep. Why did it do that? Like, Mewtwo has some solid stuff about. I mean, Bowser Jr. has some solid stuff like the killing and the combos that do 60%, for example. But the problem is that his game plan just isn't good enough. And if you hit the cart, he can get comboed to hell. And if you hit Bowser Jr. himself when he's out of the cart, you can die very early. So that was my mistake. My bad. The next character, and this is why I say that even a Bond 30 character could still want a pocket, because I can't believe I'm placing this character this low. I don't want to place him this low. But, just happens to be the truth that he's down here. Yeah, it's that kind of tier list. Ness is good. Don't get me wrong. Ness has sauce with his combos and all that stuff. He beats a top 3 character in this game. Pikachu. Spoilers. But one of my friends on my esports team says this. Yeah, he beats Pikachu. And that's about it. Because there's a lot of characters who can cap Ness out and have better hitboxes. Like, looking down the tier list, we have Bayonetta, Byleth, Cloud. Well, Chrom. Well, Chrom's weird because of his recovery. Cloud, Ike, even Hero, Link, Lucina, Marth. Like, there's so many characters with better hitboxes in this game. And unfortunately, that really hurts Ness. Also, if you have a counter, his edgeguarding is kind of free. But if you don't, it can sometimes be scary to edgeguard this character. Ness is a strong character. But the problem is hitboxes. And, of course, if there's like there's also some characters in this game who are non-energy zoners. And they can also wall him out. Another character who gets walled out but still pretty good. Another character who I want to put the saying on, saying, hey, Ultimate's stupid, is going to be Pichu. Pichu, man oh man, what has happened to this character? Pichu has sauce. Don't get me wrong. But the thing is that he gets camped out super badly. It is really bad how bad. And the thing is, he hurts himself and is extremely light. So hey, if you don't feel like getting Pichu to kill percent, just camp him out. And then suddenly, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs, he's going to be at kill percent because he's going to be self-damaging himself trying to get in. And then you hit him, you kill him. But also, he's still a very small, like, he's a rat. So he's very hard to hit. And because of that, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs, there's characters in this game who don't do good against a rat. Like maybe Ike or Roy and Crom. Like, Pichu still can do good in matchups. Like, we see Ness can do well. All these characters can do well. But they just have flaws that kind of push them down numbers-wise. But if you want to go in saying, hey, I'm going to solo play Ness, go ahead. Top 16 a major. You want to play Corn? Go ahead. Like, all these characters are still strong, just not strong enough in my opinion. Anyways, BRB, I'm just going to do something real quick, but I'll be right back. Anyways, back to it. Just had to turn a light on or something. Next up is going to be... Who would I put next? Oh, yeah. So a character who I think is underrated, which is kind of funny to say, because he's like... I don't want to count right now, but he's like bottom 30, bottom 35-ish, is Marth. Marth has tools in this game. It can be actually... It isn't as bad to hit tippers in this game as you would think. But it's still a bit too inconsistent to really place him higher than this. Which is kind of unfortunate because I love this character. But man, it can be so hard to get a tipper in this game. And the problem is that when you aren't landing tippers, you aren't killing. But also, when you do get tippers, you're doing a bunch of damage. And we see that guy, Igonize. We've seen him make waves at his tournaments. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a Marth go far. The reason why we haven't seen a Marth go far is there's, like, he's one of the most irrelevant characters in the game because Lucina and also other characters who you don't have to worry about landing tippers for. But Marth is good. And I don't want to take that away. Marth has tools. Just isn't enough. Well, his tippers are enough, but being that inconsistent sucks. You know? Next up is going to be... Who's next? There's so many good characters in the game that I'm split between. I'll play Bowser. Ryu. Where's Ryu? Ryu's up next. So Ryu has tools. He got buffed in the most recent patch. They gave him another shield breaker, but also he was pretty good at breaking shields anyways. Like, obviously it helped, but also... Ryu was always going to break your shield, so I don't think the change really matters that much. Also, Ryu, the thing is, what made Ryu bad was he could just get out-camped. Like, that was the thing. You would just out-camp the crap out of Ryu. Like, obviously, if you have to scrap against him, you're going to have a bad time. But many characters could just out-camp him and outspace him and then punish him for it. But also, his camping is still pretty good. And when he does land a hit on you, you're dead. He's going to hit you once, and he is going to kill you. Like, Ryu has tools. It's just, he gets out-camped. Like, he has a very set game plan, and when you don't play his game plan, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs, he just dies. And that ain't fun. Next up, Big Boy Bowser. Bowser is very interesting, because he probably loses more matchups than these characters, but he has Flame Breath that does 50% in one thing. Also, he is just very heavy. He has a great out-of-shield option, heavy armor on a bunch of stuff. Like, obviously, Bowser has the flaws of normal heavyweight, but he's fast, has Flame Breath, and some decent combos, and great advantage state, so it's fine. Obviously, there's still matchups that give him struggle, but, ooh, man, when Bowser gets going, he goes. And it's absolutely insane what this character can do. Very basic to talk about, though, so moving on. A character who's very complex, though, and is going to be the next character, is, where is he? Hero. I've always kind of had a low opinion on Hero, and while it may look like it numbers-wise, I still do, he still has stuff. Like, obviously, if you just fish for accelerates and just constantly zone your opponent out, it's still pretty good. Although, I would say it isn't enough at some points because he still isn't the best sword character when you get in on him. But he's still a decent zoner, and obviously, he can turn into a great character if he gets accelerate, psych up, oomph, or whatever, too. Like, he can pack a punch and fly around the stage if he wants, and he can get spells that can turn the match on its head. Quick thinking heroes can always do that. Just the problem is that he isn't the best sword character. But he can also crit you with a forward smash and still has some decent zoning. And if he gets bounced, suddenly he can turn matchups on its head. But just isn't enough in my opinion. Being slow and not having the best sword hitboxes does hurt. So, yeah. Next up is going to be the Banjo and Kazooie of Fighter's Pass Duel. Though I don't think he's kind of a weird to fight, but not that good. Sora. So Sora's a very new character, and I thought very high of him. But man, he can't really like. What's surprising is that his frame data is actually a lot more punishable than you would think. Like, his frame data is not that good, and also being that floaty in the air. Like, obviously he has tools, like he can go out like Puff with a sword, just float around and edge guard you. But the problem is that like being that simple and punishable with your moves, that kind of hurts. Also, his edge guarding is good, don't get me wrong, but being that floaty isn't the best because then you just kind of, where you're flying around in the air, can make it easy to hit you and swat you out. And while he has some good zoning, I don't think it's good enough. Obviously, Sora's still really good. Uppy is pretty strong, has all these strong things. It just isn't enough in my opinion. Enough to be like solo viable like I thought he was, but he's still a good character, but also not the best. There's still clearly a bunch of characters that are better than him. He's still a new character, so I don't know too much about him, but I could definitely see him making some more moves in the future. Next up is going to be another fighting game character, Ken. So Ken doesn't have as much shield break potential as Ryu. Doesn't exactly have the kill... Well, he has the kill power Ryu when he gets like a combo on you, although I think you can fall out of some of his combos. And you can still zone him out, but he's faster, so that helps. But also can still kind of get camped out at points, which kind of sucks. And the problem is that he can't camp you out, which isn't that good. He still has tools, but clearly the other two Shotos, in quotes, are significantly better than Ryu and Ken. But he can get camped out sometimes, but when he gets a hit on you, like many other characters, he can kill you. But he can't out-camp, so he kind of has to approach you. And if you're focused on keeping him out, he just doesn't get in. Next up is going to be a heavily advantage-based character. I said advantage-based? Yeah. Falco. Falco is crazy. Oh, wait. I think I missed a character. Yeah, I missed a couple of characters. Yeah. I'll talk about Falco, then I'll sort of just put the characters in that I missed, and then just see where I think of them. So Falco's neutral. Not the greatest. It's still pretty good. Has a reflector, so that can force characters to approach. And then when you accidentally mess up, and he hits you with that up tilt, goodbye, because you are going to die. Falco's advantage state is crazy, and he can even kill you at some point. But also at some points in Scrambles, he doesn't kill you. Like, if you fall out of his combos and just stay away from up tilt, he could kind of struggle, and you can still do that. Obviously, we've seen Tilde make massive waves top 8ing with this character, but just not enough in my opinion. So I'm going to put the two characters I missed. I think they're both under Ken. Next up is going to be Bayonetta. A character who is actually pretty good in my opinion. We've seen at SmashCon, we saw 2 Bayonettas almost top 8. That is crazy. One character top 8ing, okay, fine. Almost top 8ing, that's fine. Your character's clearly viable. But 2 in the same event? Holy moly. Obviously, Bayonetta still has some terrible matchups. Still struggles to kill, but her edge guarding's good. Her damage output goes crazy. And she can be actually hard to hit sometimes. Maybe not for characters like Pikachu, but she can kind of dart around the stage. She has tools, but being that light is not the best. But also, the Smash Ultimate is very aerial-based, and a lot of characters have to jump a lot to do well. And you know who likes to feast on characters who are constantly in the air? Bayonetta. And oh man. Also, her edge guarding. Also, Witch Time can help with landing you a kill, but sometimes we see Bayonetta's not even use it. Like, Bayonetta's killing is actually pretty... It's not great, but it's not as bad as people used to say. Including me. You know. Next up is going to be a very complex character. And that is going to be Rosalina and Luma. I forgot another character. So, Rosalina and Luma, pretty good. Very strong character with a lot of creative setups and a good anti-zone because they can just absorb projectiles and make sure that you don't use them. But the thing is, characters with disjoints that can constantly hit Luma can just really, really suck for this character. But also, you can't outcamp Rosa because then she gets Luma back. So you kind of have to kill Luma and then kill Rosa. So fighting on that clock can actually be pretty annoying. But also, characters with giant disjoints can really screw up this character pretty badly. And just make sure that even you can hit Rosa through Luma, I believe. Although the shield did get fixed for some occasions, but still not enough. Character that I should have probably placed a little bit lower but above Ryu is going to be Wii Fit Trainer. So listen, Wii Fit Trainer's pretty good, but also her hitboxes aren't the best, and that hurts. Obviously, deep breathing combos can do a bunch of damage. She has the header, which can be good for zoning, some pretty good ledge camping. Deep breathing in general can slowly heal over time with her charge shot, but her hitboxes and disadvantage kind of suck. If you hit her in the air, doesn't land, doesn't have great hitboxes, so short characters or characters with better hitboxes can kind of just screw her up and can just make a mess out of this character, but still pretty good. Next up is a character that has been sweeping tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament after tournament, is going to be Byleth. Alright, I confess, in my first tier list I ever put on YouTube, my 8.0 tier list, I said that Byleth was bottom 15. And you did too. Do not lie to me. You see, I'm willing to admit my mistakes, that I was wrong about this character. But I think everyone should too. Because I think everybody besides MKLeo doubted the ever-living crap out of this character. What makes Byleth so good is they have some good frame data on their moves. And despite the fact that they're so slow, they have some pretty good spacing. And they also have Nair, which does a lot. What makes Nair really good is that it has a landing hitbox. So that can lead to some whole new combo opportunities. Also, I think I've been seeing MKLeo do some IDJ combos. You also have the up B to do the yoink thing and just pull them down under the stage. Like, Byleth actually has a lot of tools. However, still slow and still some matchups. Here's the thing with Byleth, though. Going off of his matchup chart, there are a lot of even matchups. You know how even matchups works? Most of the time, even matchups, if the players are better than each other, it'll be 50-50. But MKLeo is the best player in the world. So if it's a slightly losing matchup or a winning matchup, an even matchup, MKLeo is still probably gonna sauce ya. Except he sauced through Diddy Kong, a character who should have MKLeo is such a god. I could see Byleth being higher than this, but also, to be honest, I could still see Byleth maybe down in this area. Because we have to remember, the main person that we're learning that matchup through is MKLeo, who is just better than everybody. Like, we didn't really have, like, a bad Byleth that could do well, because no one was really playing or talking about the character. So, yeah. A character who has been demoted instead of promoted. And I know nobody's going to agree with this placement. It's okay. We can disagree about some things. Oops. Listen. Inkling can do well against traditional sword characters. I know that. They can also kill off of some pretty strong strings. I know that. They also have a crazy damage output. I know that. They're good on FD. I know that. But not being able to kill in scramble situations sucks so much. Now, obviously, as I keep mentioning time after time, one of my best friends is an Inkling player. Which, by the way, shout out to Paintkip for helping me set up stream and stuff. I hope he's in the chat and he can shout himself out. Subscribe to him. He helped me out. But the thing is, besides for back air, this character gets zoned out and doesn't have the best hitboxes. And doesn't kill at scrambles. Can get platforms do not work for this character. Can get zoned out really hard. And I know the splatter shot gun thing or whatever it's called. Yes, I know that. But also, that didn't fix the fact... Like, it helps with her damage output. But she still doesn't have the best hitboxes besides her back air. Still can't kill in scramble situations. Like, people say Inkling can't kill. Here's how Inkling works. She's either going to cheese you and kill you at 50, but if you just stay away from her, SpaghettiOs, she's not going to kill you. And that's a big problem in Ultimate, where characters can just kill at so many different early percentages. So yeah, Inkling kind of got demoted pretty hard. Like, I remember putting them in top 20, and everybody called me insane when I was the first person to say that Inkling was in top tier. And now look, everybody has joined the Fish Tacos train and said, well, okay, I'm just being a jerk at this point. Next character, another character who got demoted is Mega Man. Oop. It's honestly crazy how much I used to promote this character, put him in top 20, and say how good he was. But man... maybe it's just a Link thing, but you can actually get through a lot of his projectiles that he throws out. And his disadvantage is bad. He doesn't land. He gets edge guarded. And he gets comboed pretty hard. Obviously, he has Leaf Shield. Like, he does well under pressure. Don't get me wrong. But the disadvantage just isn't good. Like, when you're in his face, all he has really is Leaf Shield to protect himself. And once you get past that and just learn how to deal with all of his shenanigans, SpaghettiOs for him, you know? Next character, Yoshi. Yoshi is good. Do not get me wrong. But I feel like sword characters can still wall this character out. And if Yoshi doesn't have the lead, he can still get camped out pretty hard. But he still has tools. Like, obviously, with, like, Mega Man, I didn't mention. Like, Mega Man has obnoxious zoning that can be hard to figure out. Yoshi has a downer that does 30%. Eggs are obnoxious to deal with. And all of these obnoxious hitboxes. It's just that if he has to make a comeback, he gets camped out. And by projectiles and sword hitboxes, like, I really had to grind this matchup. Well, I didn't have to, as it turns out. But, because the bracket changed before I went to a tournament. But Yoshi actually gets camped out pretty hard, in my opinion. Obviously, still a very good character, and when he gets a lead and he's camping you out, good luck. Good luck. Don't have disjoints, good luck. Next character. I'm kind of split between the two, but I'll just put Ike here for now. Ike is a very strong character. Ike is a very good character. Very solid. Nair is, even after nerf, still super strong. Giant hitbox that combos and can just wall characters out. You have so many, massive sword that just does tons of damage. A good up B out of shield. A decent up B out of shield option. A quick draw can actually be used for different mix-ups and to get back to stage. And you have Eruption to make sure that if a character isn't hitting the ledge right away when they're recovering, you can throw the Eruption down and kill them. Ike is very strong, but if you can get around his Nair, he doesn't really do the best. And when you're trying to edge guard him, if he has to recover low, and all he relies on is up B, You know what to do. You counter it. So just try to hit him low and just make sure that he doesn't get back to stage. But still a very good character. Like, his airspeed is still pretty good enough. And he has that giant hitbox that he can just throw out. Like, Ike is still a very strong character. Just not as strong as another heavy sword character. And this is where we talk about my boy. So for context, for all the people, new people who come to this, because tier lists get me a lot of views, which I don't want to brag about, I'm just saying that, you know, that brings in a lot of new people. Link is my main, and I'm incredibly optimistic about this character. And even then, I'm placing this character at not even 35th. Ultimate stupid. It hurts to place my boy down here. And obviously, I've seen tier lists place him lower. If you want to place him, like, if you want to mix them up, like, and place them, like, here or even here, I totally understand why. I'm very optimistic about this character. However, this is for all the new people. Let me explain why I think this character is so good. So, Fair is a strong tool. Let's start with that. Boomerang into Fair. A combo that's going to land you almost 30%. Boomerang and Bomb can be used for zoning. You have tons of mix-ups with Bomb. Bomb can be used for so many things, and his kit kind of just flows into each other. You have so many multi-hits, like forward air and back air. If you just land with the first hit of them, combo into up B or up smash, boom, dead. Up smash, that got buffed for some reason, boom. That's going to land you a kill. Out of shield options, amazing. You now have down tilt at the ledge. What? Down tilt into forward smash at ledge. Down tilt into forward smash at ledge, yeah. Can kill. Uh-oh. That ain't good for your opponent. You have also up, like, his frame data is actually, even for his normals on the ground, it isn't the best, but it's still insane for how powerful that they are. And of course, two tools that I haven't mentioned. Well, I kind of mentioned Bomb. You can do so much with Bomb, like combos, edge guarding, edge trapping especially, and just on-stage pressure. And of course, Nair. Link, Nair. Nair could be a combo starter into dash attack. You can combo into Nair. You can edge guard with Nair. You could, like, so many people say that Link loses the rushdown. And while it's true for some characters, other characters, he can just Nair at them. And he also has ways to force opponents into shield with Nair or Bomb. Now, obviously, if I really wanted to, I would place Link even higher in this year or even in this year. But I have to be realistic. He does have flaws. He's not the fastest character. And of course, if you get his Bomb and use it against him and get him off stage, uh-oh, he dies. So his resource management is very high. Like, you have to be very smart with how you use Bomb. Because if you're using it for aggression, which some characters you don't even have the time to use it for. You kind of just have to start nairing and hoping for the best. Like, there's still a bunch of matchups that make Link struggle. But, if he has to recover without Bomb, he kind of dies. So you kind of have to make some decisions. If you're good with Bomb on stage, yeah, you can do a lot, but if Bomb's on stage or your opponent has it, they throw you off, you die. But if you're only using Bomb for recovering and only very specific situations, then you aren't using Link's full potential. So, like, peak Link is still probably here, but also some of the, like, the fair loops and stuff like that are DIable. So Link is still a very strong character. Don't get me wrong. I think this character is super strong. Want to place him lower? Go ahead. But realistically, kind of have to place him a little bit lower because there are just characters that are better than him in this game. Sucks to say it, but what can you do? A character who I also think is underrated is going to be Pit. Alright, listen up. People say that Pit doesn't have it, and I disagree. Everything with Pit is not a 5 out of 10. It is a 7.5 out of 10. Pit is a very strong character. It's funny how so many people complain about Nair. It's a good tool, and then it's constantly being used in neutral. And of course, Dark Pit, you have the better arrows, but also Pit has vertical killing. Pit's a very solid character. And of course, he can do some out-camping because his arrows, whichever one you use, are decent enough. And of course, he has a reflector. His recovery doesn't have a hitbox on it, so it doesn't do the best sometimes against edge guarding. But Pit does very well. And while he may not beat a lot of characters, he can go even with them. Or even, like, Pit can do well against the meta. Like, I don't think he has a single 40-60 matchup. Maybe there's a couple, but he does very well in the meta. And of course, he has all these bread and butters. Back air is good. Nair is good. Forward air is pretty good. You could have Nair drag down and stuff. Up air drag down into up smash. Down smash is good. Pit's a very strong character. And longtime Fish Taco fans know that if I'm placing a character above Link, that's a very high regard. Besides for the next character I'm about to talk about, Sephiroth. Sephiroth is overrated. Rabby, rabby, rabbity. Rabby, rabby, rabbity. So, Sephiroth, listen, is a good character. Obviously, any character from Corrin on is solo viable in the right hands. But the problem is that he is very, very precise. Like, while his moves go farther than other sword characters, it's very precise. Like, you kind of have to bait and punch. You can't just throw moves out. Obviously, he has Nair and stuff, which can help. Oops, Satoru Marsh is playing from Xenoblade. And I love Xenoblade. But he's a very precise character with a not great disadvantage. Tall and light, like Mewtwo. Though I would argue he's a lot better than Mewtwo. Obviously, when he gets the side B on you and you have those orbs, he can break your shield. But also, just not great. His frame data is what holds him back. Because while, yes, his moves go far, they also aren't great until, like, his smash attacks aren't really that good until you get the one wing. But then, like, you're kind of swinging with the one wing because of how light he is. So Sephiroth is still a very good character, but just not good enough. Actually, I might change my... That was just bothering me. Like, these two are very interchangeable. We'll play some... I'll do that. That's how I feel. Who's next? We don't have that many characters left in this tier. Greninja. So Greninja's still pretty good. Obviously, like, people are learning the matchup a bit more. I am too. In fact, I might place him a little bit lower than this. But Greninja still has the tools to make it through. He has a bunch of combos, some kill confirms, but also, not having added shield options sucks. It sucks. And he's very mobile, but also kind of bad. Side B is extremely punishable. And, like, Greninja doesn't have that many flaws. It's just not enough. Well, obviously, it is enough. Like, I keep saying that, but, like, not having added shield options definitely hurts. I also think he can get zoned out sometimes. Like, you can kind of camp him out a little bit. But he's better than these characters. Like, he can play more reckless than Sephiroth. Reckless, I guess, if you want to say it. So, that's why I place him higher. Next up is, who's next? I'll place Captain Falcon next. Falcon's very good. Don't get me wrong. Falcon is an extremely, extremely strong character. All those IDJ combos and stuff. But he does lose a lot of matchups. Can still get comboed pretty hard. And while his recovery got buffed, it still isn't the best in my opinion. Actually, nah. I'll do that. I think Falcon is better than Sephiroth, but because he can still play reckless and he has all the crazy combos. And of course, he can just knee you or spike you. Like, Falcon has the tools. It's just that he can get comboed pretty hard. And when he's off stage, his recovery doesn't go that far. It's still pretty good, but just not the best. Alright, there's 3 characters left in this tier. The first up, I hate Luigi. 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 Oh, Luigi. The character that is one of the most swingy characters in the game, if not the swingiest. You try to zone him out. But then when he hits you and gets a grab, you take a bunch of damage. You also have super armor up B to make sure that you can get down and land safely. You also have Bazinga as an out of shield option, which is the up B. Is that an out of shield option? Not sure. His recovery isn't that bad, although I still argue it is pretty exploitable. And what holds me back, like, I know Elegant's been doing good, but also there isn't a lot of zoners in the meta, which is kind of weird to say because, you know, oh, Luigi, there's not a lot of zoners in the meta, so we haven't seen somebody going walling Luigi out. But also, hey, if the meta is not full of zoners, then what can you do? Luigi is going to get out there, you know? Like, very weird to place a character like Luigi because he's just so swingy, so stupid. But also, doesn't have the best air mobility still, and can still lose to zoners and maybe some sword characters. But also, he can Bazinga and then kill you at 0 because why not? Or he can kill you at any percent he wants. Like, we've seen so many matchups say that they have a +2 on Luigi, and then he would just rip through them. Luigi's a good character, and I underrated the crap out of this character. Next up is going to be a very good zoner, and Samus. So, Samus is a very strong zoner. Alright, Pankip. I shouted you out when we got to Inkling. Do not worry, fam. I got your back, brother. Samus is a very strong zoner. Can actually scrap when you get in on them, which is, why are they letting zoners scrap again? I have no idea. Samus is very good, but still kind of floaty, but also her edge trapping is so crazy. So crazy. It is insane how, like, if you're off stage and trying to get back, good luck. However, Samus can also get edge guarded. But she can scrap when she gets in. The problem is that some characters in the tiers above have reflectors or ways to get around her projectiles, and that's it. Like, characters who can just mess with Samus' zoning is what kind of screws her over. But other than that, she has tools. She can Zair. She has all these different tools. She has kill throws. Why did they give this character a kill throw? Like, ugh. And the final character in this tier is going to be Olimar. Olimar is a good character. Loses a lot of matchups, but like Luigi, very, 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 very swingy. Because when they get a blue, uh-oh, they screw you over. Like, he has a lot of losing matchups, so I maybe might just do this instead and have Samus as the top running character. But Olimar still has the tools. Because it's very frustrating to play against a character like Olimar. And of course, I'm trying to take my bias out of it because Link has a good matchup, even though I'm bad at fighting Olimar. But here's the thing. If you have ways to kill Olimar super early or to swat the Pikmin off, yeah, you're going to do well. But also, Olimar mains can be very clever with how they throw the Pikmin at you. And blue can grab, can kill you early. Purple Pikmin can do an up smash and kill you early. White can do a bunch of damage. And of course, you can just use the Pikmin in very creative ways. The recovery can still be edgeguarded and can be very exploitable, but Olimar is a very solid character. Do not get me wrong. Alright, so I'm just going to look at my tier list one more time before I progress into the top 2 tiers and make sure that I did not forget anybody this time because I am a silly goose. Yep. I think everybody above this is in the next tier up. And is this a good placement? I think so. Yeah, that feels about right. Alright, on to solo viable. These characters still have losing matchups, and maybe like 1 or 2 bad matchups, but they're fine. They're solo viable. You can play them solo most of the time and do fine. And starting off, I'm actually kind of split on this, I'm not sure. I'm going to place Kazuya next. Kazuya is going to be the first character for this tier. So Kazuya is still a very strong character, but also kind of hard to play. We still haven't seen what they can do at the moment. Because Kazuya is still a very new character that was very complex, unlike Sora and Pythra. Like, he was sandwiched in between 2 characters who, A, were very hyped up to come into the game, and B, were probably the best character in the game. Spoilers. But here's the thing. Kazuya is still good. Obviously, he is a little bit hard with all the decision making, but he's not that hard. He has like invincibility and super armor on a bunch of his moves. And he has some way to deal with zoning, although his anti-zoning still isn't the best because he's still a very slow character. But once they learn how to do the fancy movement, this character's gonna get in and kill you. Like, Kazuya still has a chance to go up in the meta, just not yet, in my opinion. But also, doesn't have the best way of getting down. Who cares? Because he can just hit you once and kill you. Next character. You know, this is a character that I can't say, oh, everybody else was saying was bad. I gotta own up to it. Cloud. Cloud's good. I'll admit it. This character is kind of stupid. Is his recovery bad when he doesn't have limit? Yeah. But also, he has a great option out of shield. He has moves that are hard to parry. Like, he has high damaging moves that are hard to parry on a character who's fast and has limit. Yeah. You have combos, you have strings. And when you get an advanced shape with this character, as we've seen with Spargo, you could just kill. Cloud is crazy. I was wrong about this character. And obviously, you can limit camp with this character and force characters to approach and then swat them away. And then when he gets limit, he can just kill you. Obviously, there are still some characters who can limit camp in where if he gets limit, he can just stay away from them. But it's so hard for him to parry stuff. He just does it all. Cloud's busted. I got this character so wrong. And I apologize. Next up is going to be Mii Brawler. Another character that I got wrong. But hey, nobody cared about them, so... Well, people care about this character, but not many. So this is what happens when you mix Mario, Fox, and a bit of ZSS in. Except ZSS sucks, so he's lower. But here's the thing with Mii Brawler. He has crazy damaging combos and crazy ways to kill. He doesn't have the best hitboxes. Okay. But he has Thrupper. He has so many ways to kill you. There's like that mega fast punch thing he can do. He has a Fox neutral air. He has ladder combos of Mario that you can just throw him on Yoshi's. Like, Mii Brawler is such an insane character. Hitboxes aren't the best. Edge guarding, not the best. Blah, gets edge guard. Blah, blah, blah. He's a strong character. Like, he's a super strong character. Next up is going to be... Actually, I'm going to place Sheik right here. So Sheik is still a very strong character. I've always had a high opinion of Sheik, higher than many. Does she lose a lot of matchups? Yeah. But here's the thing. Are the Ice Climbers really that much of a relevant character? Do people play Pichu anymore? Doesn't the Buzz play Sora and Rosa a lot, so there's a chance that you might not run into his Olimar? Yeah. Listen, Sheik may not do well against trading, and some characters being short and getting around her. Also, Pikachu's kind of irrelevant. But man, she could still hit you once and do a bunch of damage. She can dump out damage, dump out kill confirms, play very patiently with needles and kind of camp you out. And also kill you. She has good kill confirms. She's also super fast, so it can be hard to hit her. Like, her neutral is actually pretty good. Problem is that she just loses the train game to some characters, or doesn't have the best ways to hit short characters, and she's light, so she dies early. Okay. But she's gonna, like, destroy, like, a majority of the characters. I don't have a higher opinion of Sheik than Zachary. Oh, yeah, I forgot. He put him at, like... Did he, like, say Sheik was, like, top 3? That's crazy. How do you play Sheik at top 3? Yeah. She does have some bad matchups, but Sheik is crazy. Like, I mean, like, higher opinion of Sheik than, like, most people. Because a lot of people would probably play Sheik, like, maybe... Like, this is just going to be a rough estimate, like, maybe, like, right there. But Sheik actually has a bunch of tools, in my opinion. Very fast, deadly combos, and can kill you. Sheik's good. Who else is there? It's very... This is the part of tier list that makes it kind of hard. because it's hard to talk about because there's so many good characters that I could just throw in next. Next up is going to be Terry. Terry is cracked. I put this character in mid-tier. I really put this character in mid-tier a while back. What was I thinking? To be fair, I only was going off a quick play experience, but when I played against a Terry in friendlies to learn the matchup, oh my god, this character has ways. Like, obviously, sometimes he still struggles against zoning. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's still some zoners that give him a hard time. But he has so much mobility. His disadvantage is not as bad as I said it was. He has such crazy combos. Go is a stupid mechanic. And apparently, hold on, my friend told me this. I don't know how to exactly describe it, so I'm just going to go off of what he said. So, if you start Power Dunk at a certain height, it basically beats Shield if he mashes Jab. So, Power Dunk is... He has options that are safe on Shield. Like, very safe on Shield. Like, with Power Dunk and Jab. And, of course, just as all this junk that's annoying. Uh-oh. Did YouTube stop playing its thing? Yes, continue playing. Terry is cracked. Shoot. Exactly. Yeah, man, you get it. Terry's very good. I got this character wrong. He is just a menace. And it's crazy because I don't even think he's top 25, but Terry is crazy. Terry is so good. Like, this is the part, like, there's so many things, like, with this tier list. There's like, oh, these characters are bad in the unviable tier. Oh, these are secondary. These characters are good, just not as good as people are saying. Maybe want secondary. These characters are amazing, but not that amazing. These characters are amazing, and they have one flaw besides blah, blah, blah. Like, it's so hard. Ultimate's so dumb to talk about. I love this game so much. It's so hard to talk about, though, but, I just love talking about it. Next up is going to be, this is where the tier list gets hard. This is where things get really hard. Who did I place next on my tier list, even though I've been changing my opinions a lot? ZSS sucks. ZSS is a bad character. Worst character in the game. Absolute unviable garbage. Terrible character. Obvious exaggeration. Except not really. ZSS blows. But ZSS, the problem with it, like, ZSS, it still is a strong build. Can still anti-cringe a bunch of characters and out-camp them with her mobility. Like, she can be so hard to hit sometimes. But her hitboxes, ooh, up B is so tiny. You can fall out of forward air. And she is extremely light. Some of her normals aren't that good. But also, she can just make sure that characters don't get it. But she has some bad matchups. Like, ZSS is still good. Like, actually, obviously, when she gets a lead, it can be very hard to come back against her. But that Nair nerf hurt her a lot because her out of shield game got worse, I believe. Very light. I did the Marsik, yeah. ZSS is bad. Worst character in the game. Worse than Ganondorf. Worse than, Brawl Ganondorf, actually. Such a bad character. But ZSS can anti-cringe characters, but she also has some bad matchups where she can't hit people. So, yeah. Next up is a character that I'm also a little bit optimistic about more than others, but I still have faith in my boy, Chrom. Actually, Chrom could go more fits right there. Chrom is still a cracked character. As I mentioned earlier, if he did not have a bad recovery, he'd be top 5 to 10 range because he would run in with these consistent sword hitboxes. But the problem is that recovery bad. And the issue is that Roy can kill very easily in this game and count. I think he can even combo the sour spots into sweet spots and just kill you with his sweet spots. That's 40. So Chrom dies earlier than Roy and kills later than Roy, which is why there's probably a giant gap between them. But Chrom is still a good character in a vacuum. Has amazing hitboxes. Well, maybe not against a character like Pikachu or Pichu, but still very, very good hitboxes. So some extremely good options. Has an out-of-shield option that does 30% because why wouldn't it do 30%? Still very good edge guarding. Just the recovery is bad. Like, that's it. And some characters who can get around his sword backs. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Chrom is busted. Next up is going to be the little boy, Young Link. Young Link is a very strong character. Obviously, his recovery is kind of exploitable, and he doesn't have the best hitboxes, besides Renair. But unlike characters down here, he is a zoner that can scrap. He's willing to scrap against you. And like Link, he has multi-hits that can combo into stuff that can do some mad damage. But what makes him so much better than Link is that his zoning is insane. And he can decently scrap well. And as in scrap, I mean fight with normals. Of course, still can get edge guarded. Characters who have reflectors can still kind of bully this character a little, like Fox and Wolf. But Young Link is incredible. Young Link is a super, 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 super solid character that has such good zoning. Like, yeah, sure, he may lose to like characters like Wolf and Fox pretty bad, but then he beats characters like Rob and maybe a bunch of the other characters down here, and even characters above like Pokemon Trainer and stuff. Next up is going to be... I have no idea who's up next. This is so hard to do. I have to keep referring back to that tier list, even though it keeps changing. Oh boy, who's up next? This is where things get difficult. Oh my god. Alright, so I just want to put a preface on this. You know how I said this is the only tier where the needs a secondary but still a viable tier is the only tier where you could change characters like from like 1 to 5 spots? I lied. Do that with the entire tier list. You want to place Young Link where Cloud is? Go ahead. It is so hard to order this game because so many characters are good. But I think, So, I think the next character up that I'm going to talk about, Diddy, Diddy's broken. I'm going to talk about Steve. I'll just go with my gut right now and then I'll change things later. So, the 2 tier lists that I did where Steve was in the game, I really didn't know where to place him. But, and while he still hasn't made too many big waves at tournaments, I kind of figured it out a little. Steve has the option to wall characters out, and then when he does, and when you get over his wall, he forces them to pick an option, and then he kills them for picking that option. He has insane 0 to deaths. He can wall you out, frame data that does so much damage, creative options for ledge trapping, blocks are so good, besides, like, obviously he loses matchups, like, against, like, the Final Fantasy characters, he just gets obliterated, but Steve is crazy. Now, obviously, someone mentioned this in chat, so people are saying to ban Steve, and here's the thing, so I know a lot of people were talking about D-Dog versus Tweak. Here's the thing, Steve might beat Diddy, but also, I don't think, based on what I've seen, Tweak kind of just stood there and was maybe a bit too patient with Steve and let him get the good resources. That's, of course, only off of the few seconds I see. I didn't watch this whole set. I just saw, like, little snippets of it. Steve still has flaws, maybe, because obviously, against Final Fantasy characters, he gets destroyed. And I feel like there's a couple of other matchups that we aren't really aware of. So, yeah. Next up is going to be Snake. Snake is a cracked character. Snake is so good. But also he has a bunch of even matchups. He's very hard to play in a tournament. And yeah, that's about... Like, for Snake, what makes him so interesting is because with a bunch of even matchups, you constantly have to be outplaying your opponent. But of course his options are better than Pit, which is why he's up here. And he still, like, wins a bunch of characters. Ban Steve is one of the few Smash memes I like. Yeah, actually, let's ban Steve. Why not? Like, because of underdog boosts at tournaments, let's just ban Steve. It was Steve behind the underdog boost. It was Steve behind the 0.9 knockback. It's always been Steve. Anyways, Snake still has Nikita, Edgeguard, and grenades. Like, if you don't know the matchup against Snake, you're gonna get blown up. But knowing the matchup, it's very hard because you have to be constantly aware of the C4. Like, I played one in tournament, and while it was a very fun set, it's very, very stressful because you have to be aware of where the grenades are. Make sure that you don't hit them because then you blow up. Uh-oh, he could pull out a grenade while you're hitting him. And uh-oh, it's so hard to keep track of everything with him. But his disadvantage actually isn't that good. Once you get past all of his tricks and you have him in disadvantage, he struggles. Kind of. He has a down air that does 20% because why not? But also his frame data, like his arrows, are still not the greatest when you're in on him, maybe? Snake busted, though. Like, he's so good. But also very hard to play and has a bunch of even matchups, so that's kind of what holds him back. Next up is going to be Sonic. So, my opinion's been kind of swinging on Sonic. Sometimes I think he's here. But the more I think about it, Sonic's busted. Sonic is so busted, it's ridiculous. Obviously, his normals still aren't the greatest, but who cares? Because if he gets a 20% lead on you, it's over. He can camp aggressively in your face because he's so fast and get heavy punishes. He even has a bunch of ways to kill you super early. And when you're that fast and camp characters out and can kind of just rush in and around and have spin dash, which can be hard to hit, you really can't be any lower than this. Sonic is a broken character. And now that I could see Sonic, actually, I could see Sonic going maybe a little bit lower, like maybe over here. Because we're still learning the matchup after playing online for a year, but Sonic is broken. Like, Sonic is so ridiculously stupid. So fast. And that can swing things. Obviously, when he doesn't have the lead and he has to make a comeback, he's probably down here. But when he has the lead, he can camp you out. He is, like, probably a top 5 character. And he has the tools to do that. Sonic, busted. Next up is going to be Pokemon Trainer? Pokemon Trainer could be right there, actually. I'll place him there. So Pokemon Trainer is a very strong character. Do not get me wrong. Pokemon Trainer has a lot of tools. Squirtle could be good against going against sword characters and screwing them up. Ivysaur sucks, but Charizard could swing a game around in seconds. Yeah, Sonic Forward Smash go burn. Also, H Pain Kip? Well, you know what? G. I prefer G over H. Thank you very much. But Pokemon Trainer is a very solid character. But the problem is that I feel like out-camping him is a big thing. So when you have like characters like Pac-Man, Young Link, even other zoners in this tier like Samus, or characters that can do what they do better, like Mario can do better at killing Squirtle with the ladder combos, then yeah. But Sonic is a very solid... I mean, Pokemon Trainer is very solid. Combos. Ivysaur isn't that good of a character, but still has a role with advantage state and stuff. And, of course, Charizard can swing a game around in seconds. Yeah. Next up is going to be Shulk. It's crazy that Shulk is probably not even top 10. Like, Shulk is a very strong character. But the problem is that he's very, very, very technical and swingy. And we haven't seen... Like, obviously, we've seen Komate do pretty good. I might place a few characters under Shulk. Like, Shulk is very good, but very hard. And he can actually struggle with zoning, getting out-camped sometime. And his frame data, while his sword goes far, isn't the best, although he could get speed and then he could just run up and fucking throw a forward air at you and kill you. Like, Shulk is so weird. But also, like, Jump, he can recover. Smash Art, he can kill you at 20 if he feels like. Buster does damage. Shield Art's good. But he can get out-camped sometimes. But he's a very strong character. but frame data is not the best. Next up is going to be the character who kind of recently made an appearance in a video. Recently, kind of based off of how I upload stuff, because it takes me a while to upload things, because, you know, is Lucina. Lucina is a very solid character that doesn't lose that many matchups. Like, I don't want to talk about Lucina too much. I don't want to be that person who says, oh, just watch my other video. But I'm kind of going to just briefly go over her because I've been talking for over an hour and a half now. However, I'll still give the full rundown. Lucina is still a strong character who can wall characters out and has good edge guarding, good juggling. A very solid character with edge guarding and neutral and stuff like that. It's just that characters can kill earlier than her. She can create stuff, like she has people have better tools than her. Disadvantage is floaty, and characters have better advantage states, more complex neutrals, but she's very well rounded, and that's why she's still up here. Great frame data and stuff, so, and that's why I put her over Shulk, because Shulk probably was like here before they nerfed shield art like a long time ago, like over a year ago. So yeah. Like, if you want to throw the characters in order around, go ahead. Next up is going to be... I have no idea who's up next. Like, see all these characters, I'm like, man, all of them can fit next. Well, 2 of them. I think that people need to stop complaining about Min Min. Oh my god. Have I seen so many people complaining about Min Min? Why? Why? Boo-hoo. She can't scrap as much when you get in on her. But also, it's still almost impossible for characters to get in on her. She still invalidates a majority of the cast and maybe characters above her, like Pac-Man and Game & Watch. Spoilers. Who cares? Yes, obviously, there's a shield stun stuff, but Min Min's broken. She's still very broken. Still not okay. She still makes sure characters don't get back to stage. She still makes sure that if you ever try to throw a projectile at her, she's going to up smash and throw an arm out and make sure that you are sorry. Min Min is broken. Can we stop pretending that this character is down here now? Please. This character is broken still. Like, this character has so much. She obviously took a hit with some frame data, but going from top 5 to top 15 is still a big jump, but she's still in the solo viable tier. And the matchups that you were going to use a secondary for, like, people are saying that the Pikachu matchup and the Sheik matchup is worse. Weren't you going to use a secondary for those anyways? Like, I don't see why so many people are complaining about it. Like, obviously, I could see why people are upset that Rob and Pac-Man didn't get nerfed, but if you have a zoner that can scrap and you're complaining about Rob and Pac-Man, you should obviously expect your character who's, like, destroying tournaments to get nerfed. And obviously, Proto Bam-Ham is still doing great with this character, so what do you want to do? We'll just put the click link. Next up is a character that's been destroyed in Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong is busted. And also, Mega Man is a rare character. Duck Hunt is a rare character. The only bad character for Diddy Kong is Pac-Man. And even that, Tweak brought that to Game 5. And a lot of his losing matchups are irrelevant. Like, who plays Villager? Isabelle? Me Gunner? Like, obviously, there's still relevant matchups that he loses to. I think, like, he said he loses to Mario and Young, like, a while back when he made that matchup chart. But Tweak has been destroying people with this character. And when you beat ZSS, Palutena, and potentially Joker and Pikachu, you're a good character. Diddy Kong is broken. He has such insane combos. And such insane... Well, like, his killing is later, but unlike Inkling, he has a constant tool to make sure that he can kill. But people still need to get better at item catching. So I don't think he's top 10. I think he's like at 14th right now. Very strong character, though. Next up is going to be Peach. So we're kind of getting to the point where I can kind of comfortably put characters where, actually, Rob. Rob is big. Rob is better. We'll talk about Peach first. Peach is still a very strong character. Combos, but she also pancakes a lot. And that's a big thing. Pancaking is making you hard to hit when you land. That's kind of insane. And of course the combos are crazy. But of course, again, zoners and characters with better hitboxes, she can get walled out because she's kind of slow. But here's the thing. Float is insane. Like, if Peach didn't have float, she would be here. No questions asked. But float makes her such a good character. So yeah, Peach is an insane character. Gets zoned out, but yeah. Next up is going to be Rob. I already put him there. Whoops. I don't want to make that mistake last time. Rob is big and loses a bunch of matchups, but he is swingy as hell. He has Nair. He has all these crazy combos that can kill you early. Gyro is a great tool and can kill you. Crazy combos. It's just that he's big in his combo food, and sometimes his recovery gets edge guarded and he loses badly to Pikachu and a few other characters. But he can just swing a matchup around and kill you at 40. So yeah, Rob big. Rob is so big. Next up is going to be Fox. Do I think Fox is here? I might change it around a little. Fox is busted. Fox is busted. Fox is insane. Obviously, he is very much a glass cannon. When things are going wrong for him, he could take a bunch of damage, get edge guarded, and die. Or die super early off of getting hit because he is so light. But when he hits you, he could do the same thing to you. Fox is busted. He does a bunch of damage when he hits you super fast. Has a reflector, so he annihilates zoners. Like, he could just rush in and then just blah, 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 and then all of a sudden the zoners, then they lose the game. Fox is cracked. Recovery isn't the best. Can get edge guarded. What do you want to say? Fox is stupid. Next up is going to be a character. Mario could be right there, actually. Mario's right there. Mario is a very versatile character. He has the combos that can just upper you and kill you. Actually, I actually think Fox is better than Mario. Fox is a very underrated character. Fox is cracked, in my opinion. So Mario still is a very, very strong character. It's just that, you know, sometimes you get walled out. And that sucks. Against some sword characters, but who cares? Because he can just turn that around and then kill you. But also, he's not fast, but also, he has Flood, and which can edge guard you for free. He also has Cape. Fireballs can be good for approaching. He has up air. And he has Nair. But also, he doesn't really kill in some situations, like if in scrambles, but who cares? He has up smash. Mario's a very good character. Some hitboxes wall him out sometimes, and sometimes he doesn't get the kill. Looking at it, I think that's closer to it, actually. Yeah, that's better. Next up is going to be the Fat Man, Wario. Wario nerfs didn't do that much. Well, they did. Kind of like Shulk, he probably used to be in this tier, but then they nerfed him. But he still does a bunch of damage, still has the air mobility to camp out characters and make sure that they never hit him. Then he gets a waft combo and he kills you. Gluttony's incredible with this character. Like, Wario's such a strong character. Oh no, he loses the hitboxes sometimes, and his recovery doesn't go to first when he has to up B. Okay. But also, his air mobility is so fast, and then blah, blah, blah. He can get Waft. Waft is stupid. You're constantly playing a 3v2 against Wario, because if you don't have, well, free stock versus 2 stock, because if you aren't killing him in the game, and he has a chance to get Waft, and even 2 Wafts, you're probably gonna lose. You did not win the set against Wario until the set is over. You are never winning the set because he can always waft you. The only way you know the set is over and you won is till after you win, which is kind of weird to say. But obviously, there's like some sets where like MKLeo would sway it around and you would say, oh, MKLeo's winning this now. The momentum's in his favor. Or you would say, hey, this character is better than this character. This set's probably going to go in this character's favor. Not with Wario, though. Because there's always that chance he can get wafted. Next up is going to be... So I mentioned with Chrom how stupid Chrom is. Roy is even dumber. Recovery still isn't best in sour spots, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, some characters can make it hard for him to land his sour spots, but Roy is so crazy. Roy is so crazy. But, actually, Wario's a bit crazier, so I'll place him here. Wario go dump me. Well, Roy go dump me. Roy's still incredibly fast, can rush in. And, yeah, that's about it. Roy has Psybe, Jer, all this crazy stuff that Chrom has, but on complete steroids. Roy's busted. Next up is Game & Watch. Game & Watch is crazy because he has an out-of-shield option that is so insane. Like, if you don't hit him, if you hit his shield, he's gonna up B. He has all these obnoxious hitboxes. He has Bucket, which can reflect character stuff, which can screw up matchups. He has the ledge trapping. Sometimes he loses a sword hitbox, but we also witness Meister doing well with this character, so yeah. Game & Watch is cracked. And alright, so now we're approaching the top 5, and the character just outside top 5 is another retro character, Pac-Man. Pac-Man is crazy. He loses bad, I think, to Wolf and Palutena, and also, ironically, has a losing matchup against my main Link. But man, this character does whatever he wants. Has a final smash for a forward smash. Hydrant camping can stop characters in their tracks. He just does so much. Just does so much. And then, of course, like, he is the definition of a zoner that can scrap. Because once you get past that, he has forward air, which can combo you. He has all this creative stuff with all the bonus fruits that we haven't even dreamed of. T is so smart with this character. Pac-Man's crazy. Like, Pac-Man's so good. Number 5, Palutena. Palu's a bit crazy, if you ask me. Palu might be a pretty good character, you know, and the more I think about it. But, obviously she loses bad to Pikachu. But then she annihilates, like, pretty much the rest of the cast with her insane combos, frame data. The nerfs did hurt because, like other characters, probably would be in here. But crazy combos, crazy frame data, crazy killing. Bad matchup against Pikachu. Oh well, there's not that many Pikachus. Chag, whenever he's there, top 8's a tournament. Palu's good. Can't really wall her out either, because she has a reflector. Palu's busted. But not as busted as Wolf, the final character in the solo viable tier. So, Wolf is crazy. Maybe has a couple more losing matchups than Palutena, but also doesn't have a bad one. Just a very consistent, solid character with gun. Like, I've constantly mentioned characters with reflectors and outzoning. Wolf is a character to do that because Wolf has a reflector and laser that can just constantly block characters out. Has amazing killing, amazing hitboxes. Recovery isn't the best. Loses to Pikachu and maybe 2 other characters. Who cares? Wolf busted. Although he might be even with Pikachu, but also lose to other characters. Yeah. Wolf is crazy. And of course you have the suicide combos and stuff like that with the side B. All this crazy stuff. Next up is the top 3 characters, the best characters in the game. If you want to argue any of these characters as the best, go ahead. Like, I'm not going to argue. I had a very hard time deciding who the best was. Even now, I'm kind of second-guessing it. But the show must go on. The character who I don't think is in running for the best, but I constantly see people putting him as the best, so I'll just put him here anyways, or in that debate, is Joker. Joker's crazy. Like, obviously, base Joker's already pretty good. Then Arsene comes out and destroys everything. Rebel's Guard is really good. You obviously have all these crazy kill confirms with Arsene. Super mobile, so he's very hard to hit. Crazy character. Just loses a couple too many matchups to be considered the best. Boo-hoo, he's top 3. Gun camping, gun jumping or whatever it's called is stupid. Side B, like he can camp and chip damage on you. He can time you out. Joker's such a strong character. And of course, he doesn't have the best out-shield options in front of him, but he's so mobile that you don't really need the shield. But also there's some characters that force shield. Alright, this is where I have the problem. It's between Pikachu and Pifra. And I know people are going to say, Dylan, you like Xenoblade. Okay, everybody's saying Pifra is the best. So, shh. Although it is kind of neat that I'm playing Xenoblade 2 now, and I absolutely love the game, besides for the navigation system. It's so hard. And even now, I'm thinking about it. But I think I have it decided. The second best character in Smash Bros. Ultimate right now is Pikachu. Pikachu is still busted. Pikachu pancakes, has back air combos, has all the crazy stuff that we all know and love with the edge guarding, can kill at 0 sometimes, has T-Jolt camping so he can just camp opponents out, just makes it super annoying to hit characters. Pikachu has it all, but what makes it hard is that he's very hard to play in a tournament. And obviously at top level, all these characters are hard to play. Like, at top level, all characters are hard to play, because you have to constantly be outplaying your opponent. But Pikachu is an extremely hard character to play, because he's kind of awkward to play. And he doesn't have, like, the raw killing like some other characters do. And not the best hitboxes. And also, while ESAM does say he only loses 2 matchups, I could definitely see Mario and Snake being also problematic matchups, and maybe Pikachu having a few more even matchups. But yeah, Pikachu busted, but not as busted as a character from Xenoblade 2. Pyra and Mythra, the Aegis, are the best characters in the game. Pyra's not a great character, I won't deny it. She would probably be in the needs of secondary tier. But Mythra is so stupid. Mythra is so fast. Mythra is what swings matchups around. Because she's so fast. Has all these crazy springs. Xenoblade 2 do be goated though. I agree, Xenoblade 2 is very good. Like, I'm playing through it right now. I don't want to spoil anything. I'm like pretty far into the game. But I don't like the navigation in the game. And even if the game was perfect, I'd still probably prefer Definitive Edition because I have a closer personal connection to that game. But anyways, the Aegis is a very strong character. There's like, oh yeah, the recovery's bad. Okay. Good luck hitting Mythra though. And of course, if you want to spice things up a little and you feel bad for your opponent, you can pull out Pyra to clutch out stocks if Mythra isn't doing the trick. Like, Pyra can help Mythra with situations that she already doesn't struggle with. Like, as at Nairo's birthday bash, they mentioned this. Mythra only loses neutral when you feel bad for the opponent. Broken character. And what makes her good is the fact that she is easier to play than Pikachu. And you can that allows you to be more flexible with what you want to do. And allows you for more mistakes. And yeah. Pyra and Mythra's broken. Like they lose to Pikachu, which is why I kind of hesitated to put Pikachu in this series, because, you know, Pikachu being the second best, but being the best character in the game. But also, Pikachu loses 2 matchups, at least, and potentially loses 4. I could see Pifra losing 3 matchups. Pikachu, obviously. Maybe Min Min, because ESM says that's a losing matchup. And maybe Diddy Kong, although Foresight... Like, Foresight is so stupid. But yeah, there are my opinions on the game right now. Obviously, the specific order of characters may change. Some characters may fall out of tiers and stuff. But, yeah. Pifra is Smash 4 Cloud, probably. This game this is all my opinions on the tier list. I'm just gonna quickly look at my opinions because I know I kind of swung them around a little. Like, I'd say, like, if you want to put Yoshi above Link or even Mega Man above Link, go ahead. But I would argue that this is pretty solid ordering for most of the tiers. Yeah, I would argue that this is the way the game is. So yeah, there is my 13.0 whatever it is update. We're on tier list. Now, I do want to say that I am not sure when I'm going to stream a tier list again because it's going to be a very, very, very long time because all the patches are out. So we're probably going to have to wait to see more tournaments, and it's probably going to be pretty long before I start streaming a tier list again. But I'm going to try to get some videos out there. I have something in mind, and I'm going to do what I did last time where I would stream something and then put something out. Obviously, if you have any questions in the comments, please put them below because it helps me out. But yeah, for those who are going to potentially watch this in the future or watch this through, thank you so much for watching and supporting me. It really means a lot. But with all that said, that is my opinion on the game. Here's one last look if you want to take a screenshot of it, show your friends and stuff. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you some point in the future. Bye-bye.